A little bit of the spirit. Thank you. This is a lot to see, and I appreciate it.
And I've got minutes laid out for us. Mr. Armstrong, are you ready? Everybody ready on this end? Everybody good? Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Elizabethan City Schools Board of Education May meeting. Very happy to have so many visitors with us tonight. Welcome. We're looking forward to recognizing all of our students. One of the things I'm going to ask, we're going to be recognizing quite a few of our students. And if you don't mind, after you've been recognized, if you'll just take your seat, and then I will give everybody a chance to leave after we finish with everything. You are more than welcome to stay for the whole meeting, but I don't expect you to. So I'll let you know when we can do that. If everybody would please stand, and Mr. Alexander will lead us in a moment of silence and a pledge to the flag.
As we pause for a moment of silence, I ask that you continue to think of Mrs. Brittany Eggers May, who is struggling with a serious illness. Thank you. Attention. Salute. Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Colbert, if you'll come forward, please.
Again, I'd like to thank everybody for this opportunity to recognize several students. So, school board, thank you. This is one of the best things that we do, is to recognize students for their excellence. And again, we've had a good year. This time last year, I remember seeing a bunch of students come up here for CTE. At the time, I was still at Harold McCormick, so I wasn't paying as close attention as I should have. One of my goals this year as the CTE director was just to keep things going the way they were. I didn't need to change anything. We have great kids. We have great teachers, great programs. So, again, I'm lucky to be a part of it. And again, we still call them clubs. Technically, the official name, as I found out in my new position, is CTSOs, Career Technical Student Organizations. But we're going to recognize several of them tonight: the FBLA, Future Business Leaders Association, FFA, FCCLA. We have criminal justice class that could be part of a Skills USA. I'll get to that in a minute when I introduce Ryan Personal, but they kind of did their own thing. And then we have one student from HOSA that's not here, but I'll mention that in a second. But again, at first, I'll let Ms. McCamey go ahead and come forward. She has several certificates that we're going to give out to students, some as state officers and some for winning various state competitions. So Ms. McCamey will introduce the Future Business Leaders Association.
Thank you. All right. If my FBLA group, if you would come forward. They always get really excited because I put them on the spot and make them talk. So, I can't say enough about this group this year. This was an outstanding group of leaders. They not only excelled at the state level, but at the local level. I don't know what I would have done without them, and not sure what I'm going to do without them next year. So I'm on the recruit looking out. But I'd like to ask Kelsey McCamey to step forward first. She is going to be our new state officer for FCLA this year. She's going to be the webmaster. So I want to congratulate her, and I look forward to all the fun trips that we'll have traveling back and forth to Nashville this year. And if Josiah Thomason and Renee Baker will step forward, I'm going to let them just tell you a little bit. They were this year's state officers. I'm going to let them introduce themselves again and tell you what they learned this year.
I'm Josiah Thomason. This year I served as Tennessee FBLA's elected state webmaster, and that gave me the opportunity to really network with some amazing people, get involved in a business type setting more than I thought I would ever be able to in high school, and get to public speak in front of over 2,000 people at our state conference and help lead that same state conference. And it was an amazing experience, and best of luck to Kelsey as she goes and does the same thing next year.
Okay, I'm Renee Baker. I served as the Region 9 President for the state of Tennessee for the Future Business Leaders of America, and in that position I got to meet a lot of people that I never would have gotten the chance to speak to if I hadn't done this, and I'm just really thankful because it helps me gain a lot of self-confidence and skills that I never would have learned without FBLA. So, good luck, Kelsey.
Okay, and I always think it's fun for them to tell you what they did. We have some amazing contests, so I'm going to start with our digital design promotion. If that group will step forward.
My name is Kelsey McCamey, and I did digital design and promotion.
My name is Sydney Elliott, and I also did digital design and promotion. And we had to design a corporate identity for a company, and this included making a logo, a window decal, business cards, and all the promotional items. And then we had to present it in front of judges like we were an advertising company. And we won first place at state.
If you'll step forward.
My name is Kelsey McCamey. I did the hardcover scrapbook.
My name is Sydney Elliott, and I also did the hard copy scrapbook.
And to tell you what that is, that's basically a scrapbook of all the activities we do throughout the year. It takes hours and hours of work, so they did an awesome job getting first place there.
My name is Christiana Baker, and I did the electronic scrapbook, and it's a slideshow where we just put pictures, basically the hard scrapbook on it.
I'm Josiah, and this is my partner, Preston Davis. We did digital video production, and we had to create a 3-minute video that talked about the importance of going green, specifically highlighting the personal impact that high school students could have on the environment and the future of the earth in that way, and we placed second at state.
I also competed in the local chapter annual business report, and this was a business report where I had to talk about all the activities that we had done in FBLA for the last year. It was kind of like the scrapbook, but just in a report form, and I got third place.
Hi, I'm Kayla Bishop, and I competed in the electronic career portfolio. In my portfolio, I had to create a website that expressed what I wanted to do with the rest of my life after I graduate high school. I created a resume and talked about volunteer work. I had to present it in front of a panel of judges for 7 minutes, and I received 4th place.
Good job, guys. I'm very proud, and we'll miss you next year for those of you leaving.
If you wait a minute, folks. Please sort of scooch together there for the picture. Mr. Colbert.
And as they go back to the seat, I did not see Lucas Reed come in. Is Lucas here? Okay. he was next on the list. I'll go ahead and mention it. Part of FFA, or Future Farmers of America. Mr. Meredith could not be here tonight either. But Lucas Reed received his FFA state degree. In order to do this, he had to compete in so many competitions over his time at the high school, as well as do so many service hours or community projects, as well as even raise money for different things and so forth. There's a series of things he had to do in order to get his FFA state degree. So congratulations to Lucas Reed. Sorry he is not here. But next, I'll turn it over to Ms. Jarrett for Fccla.
Okay. Many of you attended our Honors Day, and I know that the ones that I have as seniors, all the ones that are seniors, you also saw them receive honors that day. So I'm very proud of all of these girls and boys both, because they aren't only great and show the knowledge and the skills they've learned in culinary arts, but also academically, athletically. They're just involved in so much that I think that speaks highly of them. Okay, the first one is JP Mitra, and he can show you, this is what he's winning. The design, this was something kind of new for us to even think about doing, but this year they asked us to actually let the students all across the state design what they would like their pen to be. So this pen design, when we got there, we didn't even know till we opened up our programs and everybody came around, oh, congratulations, and no one had told us that JP's design had won for the state. So that is really a remarkable accomplishment. And this will be made into a state pen, and it will be purchased by all the Tennessee delegates, and then it will be traded with states all across the country in San Antonio this summer. So
JP, can we see that? Could we ask that you turn and let us see that as well?
We are very proud.
Oh, wow.
Why don't you explain the design a little bit, what you chose and why you chose what you did, and how quickly you got it in the, I had to get it in the mail fast to get there.
Yeah, there's a sort of notice that I learned to draw this. So I pretty much drew the state, shape of the state, and then I drew the logo. After that, I drew the state flower, the state bird, and the car in the middle. So I thought that just represented Tennessee well.
Yeah, we're very proud. Very proud of it. Okay, the next three, Joseph Byram, Ezra Ledger, and Kelsey McCamey. Okay, they were in culinary competition. I'm going to let them all share a little bit with you. They had to develop and practice 3 menus, because when you get to the stage, you do not know what you're going to be preparing. And they were really pretty elaborate dishes, so they can share some of the sauces and some of the things they were involved with. But we're extremely proud of them. They placed 4th place, but this is out of 17 culinary teams. To get 4th place out of 17 in the state is really a great accomplishment. It's really hard to do, so they worked a lot. After school hours, we had lots of tasting. So just share with them some of the things you were involved with, what it was like. They actually competed at Art Institute, so that was an experience for them. Just explain. Just to share.
I know she pretty much said everything for me, but yeah, we had 3 menus that they send you, and you have about 6 months, and you have to just practice them tirelessly. And then you have to develop a very, very detailed time management plan, exactly what you're going to do, who's going to do it, and when. And then you don't even know which menu you're going to make. And then when you get there, they just tell you a random number, and you go and do it, and you have a half hour to make your plan and an hour to prepare it. And we did better at the competition than I think we'd ever done in practice or even last year. So I was really, really pleased with how it turned out, and I'm really grateful.
So what were some of the foods you prepared? Some of the different foods you practiced.
We practiced poached salmon, chicken with a wing, which is actually way harder than you'll ever dream of. It's actually the menu we didn't want, but it's actually what we got. And pork, just like tenderloin pork. It wasn't very fun either, but way harder than you'd ever think. Competition is way harder than you'd ever dream of. Cooking sounds easy, but it really wasn't. And I actually learned a lot. It was really fun.
Well, I think they said pretty much everything. Oh yeah. With the pork tenderloin recipe, we had to make a cauliflower soup with curry. We got it wrong every single time almost. It turns out curry is very strong. Yeah. I didn't like it myself very much. Oh, the ratatouille is good. Getting a bunch of different vegetables, eggplant, zucchini, red peppers, sauteing all those together, seasoning them. And I actually like that side dish the best. But like Kelsey said, we cooked the menu that we were dreading. The chicken, it was a breast, and it actually had to have the wing attached. Every single time we messed it up until we got to state. Like right underneath the wing, between the breast and the wing, turned out raw every single time. Oh, yeah. But getting that menu actually turned out to be a blessing in disguise. We did really well with that. And I was actually pretty surprised. I think I had pretty good teammates.
They really did a lot better than they're making you think they did. Okay, last but not least is Megan Dooley Elliott. And as you saw, she also the other day signed with Milligan, has scholarship going. She did a competition with sports nutrition. And one thing I want to mention that they didn't mention, JP really was involved in about 3 things, okay? He did good on his pen design, but he also was alternate for the culinary team. And being an alternate is a hard job because he didn't know which one. If something happened to one of the 3, he had to be there ready to step in. So it could be at any time. And so he really had a hard job because he had to learn all the menus and all the parts of the menus. He also, Megan can explain how he was a part of her competition also. So she received 2nd place in sports nutrition.
Like she said, my competition was sports nutrition. I had to choose a student athlete to come up with a diet for, and I chose JP. And he's involved in a lot of sports. He's involved in soccer, swimming, and football, and he's in I don't even know how many activities after school. It's a lot. So I had him write down what he ate for 3 days, and I balanced out the calories and everything that was in the foods. And I came up with a special diet for him to keep him on a 3,800 to 4,000 calorie diet.
So that he can consume that.
Yeah, the judges told me that was ridiculous for anyone, and I was like, you don't know JP.
Very proud of all of you.
Obviously, that's a tough act to follow. But coming up next, again, our criminal justice teachers are the CTSO or club that they are allowed to be in is called Skills USA, which kind of took over for the old BCA clubs of America and so forth. But when I first got to the high school, I asked why we weren't more involved with Skills USA. Mr. Preston, Mr. Harder gave me some pretty good reasons as to why Skills USA did not match what they wanted to do with their curriculum and what they wanted to do with their competition. So Mr. Preston will come forward. I'll let him go into more detail in what he came up with instead of going with something else.
Thank you. My guys, go ahead and come on up, please. When I first got into teaching criminal justice, and I was previously a history teacher, one of the struggles sometimes you face with maybe like a class like U.S. history is the ability to take things and put them hands-on. When I got the opportunity to teach criminal justice, that was the first thing I thought of was, wow, I get to teach young people what a crime scene actually looks like, how it operates, how to get on the stand and testify. And I was disappointed to find out that currently our Skills USA only offers a multiple choice test. So when I found that out a couple years back, decided that's not really a draw for me personally. I don't really want to teach kids how to take a multiple choice test. I want to teach kids how to put hands on. And that's what we started doing. And this year we were able to host a competition through Elizabethan High School. We actually conducted it at Sycamore Shoals State Park. We had several schools slated to attend. A couple ran into some hiccups, so it was really just us and Happy Valley. But next year we hope to make it much bigger. And I know with the exposure that it had, I don't know if anybody saw the news story, but it was on the news. And I tell you, anytime you attach criminal justice CSI to things, people become very interested because it's a very pivotal part of our society. I know that I've traveled across the South, and to tell people that we have high school criminal justice at my high school, we not only have one teacher, we have two, they're pretty shocked. But if you look at the job market, it's very pertinent, and it's something that we should have, and it's something to me that as a society is very important. You know, if none of my students even get into criminal justice, just that they understand what these men and women go through and really what the system means to our society, because it is very important. To me, it's the basis of who we are. To give you a little insight on the competition, there were 10 pieces of evidence that were to be collected. So one piece of that evidence was supposed to be a fingerprint, one piece of the evidence was supposed to be DNA, and the rest was basically physical evidence, weapons and papers, things like that. If you watch TV, it's a very quick process. They've got the DNA before they leave the crime scene, and all of a sudden the suspect goes running by. They chase him down, shoot him about 7 times, and then move on. In the real world, it just doesn't work like that. For 2 hours, they scoured these crime scenes, which in all honesty is a pretty quick amount of time for a real CSI team to go in and process a crime scene. It was totally impressive to me, even to myself, and I trained them, and I think I trained them pretty good. But to step back and to watch, I mean, you talk about a proud papa. That's who I was that day. And to have the cameras on them, it was very impressive. They operated like a well-oiled machine, and they did everything that they were taught and some. They added on top of it. To sum up, we conducted an after-action review after the whole competition. The students had left. I've got agents from the FBI, the TBI, investigators from the Sheriff's Department and the Police Department. The consensus was that they would take any of the Elizabethan high school teams to a crime scene right now and have them work that crime scene with them. And even said in some instances with some of the skills that we accomplished that they would be better than their own officers. So I think they deserve a hand for that. I'm not going to make them speak because I have taught them a little bit defensive tactics, and they might use it against me. So I'll just ask you to step forward. I'll hand you your certificate and be recognized. Dylan Davis. Dylan Smith, affectionately known as Bull. You can tell why. Tristan Cosby. Logan Ritchie. Lindsay Fowler. Michael Fowler. We were the only team with twins. I tried to get the other one so to be the only team with triplets, but we couldn't get them in. And Miranda Isaacs is not present, so I'll catch up with her tomorrow. But again, next year we will do this. There will be some media coverage on it prior. We had several citizens who heard about it, who literally came down, just walked through and started watching it. And it's a unique opportunity to do that. So next year, like I said, it'll be in the paper that we are conducting it. We would love to have the citizens come down, and I'll be honest with you, law enforcement likes talking to the citizens too, because it really is an important part of the job that you interact with the community. So thank you very much.
And on the addendum to the agenda, there was one more. Andy Johnson is not here, but he came in second place in prepared public speaking with HOSA, or Health Occupation Students Association. It probably helped that his dad is also a preacher with that public speaking part. His mom is also one of our teachers, along with Miss Marcy Harden. So sorry he cannot be here. Like all these other kids, because I think Megan mentioned about JP, everybody's so active. For example, Andy's supposed to be at the sectional track meet at CAK in Knoxville tonight. I'm not sure if that got rained out or not, but I know that was his plans, so that's why I know he's not here. But again, CTE hopefully is keeping up with the excellent tradition we have with the band, with the girls basketball team, with all these other awards we're winning, with the excellence of schools here in Elizabethan. We're trying to hold up our part and do what we can. So again, congratulations to all the students in CTE. Mr. Alexander and School Board, thank you for letting us have our moment here to give out these awards. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mrs. Payne?
Hi. Tonight I'm here representing the National Council of Teachers of English, and I'm here to recognize two for their participation in the National Council of Teachers of English Achievement Awards in Writing. The Achievement Award in Writing is considered the highest award a high school student can receive in writing. It's judged by instructors and professors from across the nation, and 2 years ago, the NCTE changed the process and made it a more streamlined process, which also cut down on the amount of time that students had to prepare. Students are judged on a submission of a best sample of writing and submission of a sample of writing based on a topic given by the NCTE in the given year. Nominees used to receive their topics in November and have till April. Now they receive them in November and they have to the middle of February, which, as you know, with exams, Christmas break, and snow schedules, was a very short time in which to work. So across the nation this year, the NCTE does not set a specific number of awards to be given. They only set a maximum. The nation is not allowed more recipients than it has members of Congress. So each state then is capped at the number of congressional representatives it has also. So this year in 2014, 796 juniors were nominated by their schools. 632 received certificates of nomination. And I would like to recognize Anna Thomason as an EHS nominee. $164 high school students in the nation were chosen as recipients of the Achievement Award in Writing. And I'm very pleased to present one of those awards to Grace Jackson. I would like to also mention that Tennessee only had 6 recipients and only 2 were from public schools.
Mr. Wright, Mr. Dave Wright, come on up too for this picture.
1 more, and then we'll let everybody go. Board, let's remember there is a concert tonight, so if we work really hard, maybe we can get everybody out in time to go to the concert. Ms. Perkins? Most everyone knows this lady. This is Clara Perkins. If you don't, you should. She is what keeps our school system running. And there is no one who would disagree with that. The back row, got an amen from the back row? There we go. It is my absolute pleasure to present this. I'm going to read this. It says, in appreciation for Mrs. Clara Perkins for 30 years of faithful service to the Elizabethan City Schools. That is what she puts up with. She takes care of the board. She takes care of our superintendents. I can tell you as a board chair, I don't know what I would do without her. I drive her bananas. She is a godsend. We are so blessed to have her, and we owe her a great, huge round of applause.
Good job. Sort of narrow things down. It did.
All right, it is now time for citizens to speak in accordance with Board Policy 1.404. Anyone wishing to address the board, please come forward, state your name and your address. We have one person on the agenda tonight, James Brooks. Okay, well, did anyone else want to come up and talk? All right. Now it's time to approve the consent and regular agenda. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved. I'd like to make an addition, but
okay.
if we get a second.
Okay, and a second?
Second.
All right.
I'd like to add under additions to consent, professional leave request for Grover May to attend TSBA workshop in Johnson City on June 12th, same as the other two. Only did not have call coverage until this afternoon at 4:30. So now I can go.
Fantastic.
I'd like to make an addendum to April 17th minutes. You want it now at the end of the meeting, and it doesn't matter to me which. This is April.
Okay. Ms. Perkins, how do we want to do that? Okay. So we will do that. That will be on, goodness, got so many things here.
Item 13.
Thank you. Okay. So we will do that. We'll make that number 13. Anything else?
Now the professional leave for the TSBA workshop. Of course, I don't plan to go to Gatlinburg, but will you, if you do both workshops, then you have to reimburse for the...
No, that's only if you don't go.
If you don't go?
Yes.
Okay.
And if you don't cancel. Basically, the reimbursement's only if you are signed up and you don't cancel and you don't show up. You can go to whatever you want to go to.
I'm going to put a board policy on June agenda to address those issues.
Be fine to put it on June. That'll be fine. Yeah. Anything else for the regular consent agenda? All right. I just lost my mind. Item on the floor is to approve consent and regular agenda. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Alexander, Superintendent's report.
Several things before we give the personnel report. The first thing, if I could direct your attention to your left there, folks, at the 20 by 30 poster size photos that are on the easels. First, we have the soggy groundbreaking at junior high, but if you'll look to the right of that, you'll see that there's the before. That's the before and after pictures, as you notice over here on these sides over here, how we try to let you see what has taken place there. But anyway, the groundbreaking, the Teachers of the Year, the championship football photo, which I'm just now getting around to putting up, the recognition of Ms. Judy Howard, who was one, and Dr. Gardner. She was one of our CAP interventionists. And speaking in reference to the CAP program, folks, and this is really huge, and a lot of people don't see this, and I know that Eddie Pless and Mr. Wright would, and the other Mr. Wright would agree with this, that all of the CAP students who started in that program this year had completed the requirements for a regular Tennessee diploma, and that is big, especially for the graduation rate. So they need to be commended. Also, accommodation is in order for, of course, Ms. Mary Ann Williams and our nutrition department and Ms. Beth Wilson for making it happen. The community eligibility program that you'll be responding to this evening will provide free breakfast and lunch for all pre-K through 5 classes. And everyone in here knows that a hungry child can't study and work. And so under those circumstances, that's big too. And I think Ms. Williams, she would say that this might go for all pre-K through 12 eventually. That probably will happen. And, you know, people don't have to worry about taking a lunch, not having money, not being humiliated and embarrassed, all those things that go along with that, and yet they'll have something to eat. So I think, Ms. Williams, if they get extra stuff, they have to pay for it, right? But that's extra stuff that no one will do without, okay? Would also like to commend those individuals who lead our fine arts departments. First of all, for Ms. Foster and Midsummer Night's Dream. We saw this, folks, in the last week and a half. The T.A. Duggar choral performance on the 60s, Motown, and that's Mrs. Price. Did a great job. It's the only time I ever knew the words to all the songs that they were singing. Anyway, the EHS Jazz Band and Mr. Elliott and Mr. Lockhart, excellent performance, excellent performance. And, of course, the spring choral concert, Mrs. Gucci's over here on your left. And of course, the band in its entirety will be performing at 7:30 this evening. And May Day, as you all know, will be tomorrow night, Monday, and Tuesday, I believe, at junior high. So sadly enough, folks, there are those in the State Department who believe that fine arts don't merit testing and things of this nature, which sort of breaks your heart, saying that they apparently don't think that it's important. But it does all the things that all the other classes do and more. So with that in mind, I'd like to say that I didn't mean to be negative, but it is. Okay, the final thing is, of course, the work of Ms. Wilson and the Finance Department in creating the budget. When you look at that, folks, that also is very detailed, very complex, and very right, by the way. And so she does a tremendous job. She is super conservative, but she does a tremendous job. Now, next thing, folks, if you'll look at the personnel endeavor there on those 2 pages, I'll try not to get lost on this one this time. The new hires, Tisha Turbyfield, EHS Substitute Custodian, effective 5/5. Carrie Buckles, the Eastside Part-Time Assistant to the Teacher, effective 5/5. Next, on the other page, you have new hires, Haley Bird, effective 8/4. Going to resignations, Mary Tapp, EHS Part-Time Assistant to the Teacher, effective 4/29. Savannah Blevins, RN, Substitute PRN, Nurse, effective 5/1. Leave of absence, Sarah Neggers, Hare McCormick Bookkeeper, from 4/1 to 6/15, that's intermittent. Leslie Webb, Hare McCormick Teacher, from 5/1 to 5/26. Arnold Thomas, EHS Assistant to the Teacher, from 5/5 to 5/9. Deborah Stout, System-Wide Special Education Assistant to the Teacher, from 5/9 to 5/19. Angela Berry, T.A. Duggar Teacher, from 8/7 to 10/3. Christopher Berry, T.A. Duggar Teacher, from 8/7 to 827, Angela Peters, EHS Data Manager, from 5/7 to 5/12. Jennifer Taylor, CTE Secretary, intermittently, FMLA, leave from 5/8 to 6/6. Also, Travis Hurley, TA Duggar Teacher, from 5/13 to 5/26. Retirement, Deborah White, TA Duggar Teacher, effective 5/26. Non-rehire, Rosa Bartra, EHS Teacher, effective 5/26. Bettina Trika, Eastside Teacher, effective 5/26. Shannon Clark, Westside Part-Time Assistant to the Teacher, effective 5/23. Rhonda Edgens, Westside Teacher, effective 5/26. Azure Googe, TA Duggar Part-Time Assistant to the Teacher, effective 5/23. Carl Hall, TA Duggar Part-Time Teacher, effective 5/26. Annette Harris, Irma McCormick Teacher, effective 5/26. Lindsay Jones, Westside Teacher, effective 5/26. Bonnie Peters, TA Duggar Counselor, effective 6/6. Arnold Thomas, EHS Part-Time Assistant to the Teacher, effective 5/23. Now, going to resignations, we have Timothy Lawson, EHS CTE Teacher, effective 5/26. And Substitute Teacher, Brittany Robinson, effective 5/13. Thank you.
I have a question. Will the band be giving the concert in the building like tomorrow for the students? Or?
No, ma'am, not that I know of. Mr. Wright?
No.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Yeah, they used to have band and choral. I thought maybe it might be tomorrow and I could make it down there. I hate that.
Is there anybody have any reports from board members?
I have a question, I think. Okay, did you find anything out about electricity? That's all I need. Or have bids even gone out? This is for TA Duggar office.
Yes, ma'am. We had hoped to have some bids on the work that we discussed last month about finishing the project at TA Duggar. We don't have those, but we'll have something for you to look at in June. So, okay.
That's good. It's moving along
Yes.
then eventually, you think? Okay. What are they going to do with those lights down at the high school? I noticed. Not on where the old tennis courts were, they're back off. Will they be using those lights at Elizabethan High School? They may not be sufficient, or
I'm not really sure. Are you're talking about the lights that are on the old tennis courts? Is that what you're?
Right there, and then do some of those lights go back behind the old tennis court?
There are a few old light poles on that tennis court, and then the other light poles are around the baseball field that's currently there.
There is a baseball.
Yes. Yes, ma'am. So those lights, the wooden poles are the lights for the baseball field.
I forgot. Do they still play on that field, the Little League?
They do, and our freshman and JV baseball teams play there as well. Yeah, and I think there's a youth league that uses it in the summer.
Okay. Thank you.
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate that. I did not sign the agreement on the money market until later because I didn't understand it. Mine was not printed in red, and once I found the copy that had the listed in red, then I felt like I could go ahead and sign that particular paper, but I kind of dragged my feet on that. And donations, if we could have that wound up by June, a report that's required on that. So I have a copy. If anybody needs a copy, I've got lots of them. Okay. And you do too. You've got a copy in your Tennessee Internal School Uniform Accounting Policy Manual. Has that copy, and you're required by law to have that to present to the board and to the public. And it's in section 4, Title 9. So I guess we'll have that on the June report. Thank you.
Very quickly, I would like to, Mr. Wright had to leave. I had a family that's moving into the area, and I asked if he could tour the family through Elizabethton High School. They have 2 daughters. If they come here, their other daughter's going to be coming to Eastside, so I may be talking to you later. But I just was, my intention was to just drop the family off, introduce them, and leave. And Mr. Wright very generously invited me to tour. Having been a student, Elizabethan student, my daughters have attended, there is nothing. I would encourage other board members. Sometimes you need to have Mr. Wright or one of the administrators walk you through and take a tour of the high school. I got to go and step into some classes. I hadn't seen the new ambulance simulator, different things like that. It was wonderful hearing the teachers talk to the family about Elizabethton. But I would encourage each one of you, I'm going to do that more often. I really enjoyed it, just to make an appointment and let the principals know you're coming and let them walk you around. So I didn't want to interrupt classes, but I figured if Mr. Wright interrupted it, it was okay. But I really want to thank all of you that we stopped in. You made a huge impact on the family. I really, really appreciate that very much. All right, let's see how fast we can do this. So those of you who want to go to the band concert, we can get you there. First item on the regular agenda is to approve the Community Eligibility Program at Eastside Elementary, Harold McCormick Elementary, Westside Elementary, and the Early Learning Center for the 2014-2015 school year. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you. Can I get a second? Thank you. Mr. Alexander?
This is a wonderful thing. We've already talked about it. I don't think anybody could say anything negative about this. So we'd appreciate the board's support of that, and I'm sure those kids that have very little to eat would also concur with that.
Do you have any questions?
I think it's a great idea.
Absolutely.
Myself.
All right. Item on the floor is to approve the Community Eligibility Program at Eastside Elementary, Harold McCormick Elementary, Westside Elementary, and the Early Learning Center for the 2014-2015 school year. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Next item, approve the recommended price increases in the school lunch program for the 2014-2015 school year. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Mr. Alexander?
I would love to have Ms. Mary Ann Williams speak to 15 or 20 minutes on this. However, that's a dime's difference in all those prices, and it's federally mandated. So under the circumstances, we really don't have a choice. So I recommend that you pass. Or go to jail. I don't know which one. I don't know which one you do.
Well, I have to say I was not ready to vote for it, an increase, even though it was a dime. But I changed my mind when I found out I had to vote for it.
Kind of puts things in perspective, doesn't it?
To furnish the meals for the little ones in the elementary school. But when I got to figuring these up, I know my sister had 4 and 5 children in a school at one time. She was crazy. But anyway, that's a lot of money, and I didn't know it was that much. $180 a month. I don't know how she did it, but she did it.
I have one question. Now, the students that have already been on free lunch that are in the junior and high school, will they still be able to get their free lunch?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Because I didn't see that within here, and I said, shoot, I said, that would make.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Item on the floor is to approve the recommended price increases in the school lunch program for the 2014-2015 school year. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Next item, approve proposed change to the 2014-2015 Elizabethan City Schools calendar. Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you.
This is a super small change. Go ahead, Mr. Van Hess.
And I'm going to take all the blame for this mistake. When we had our calendar committee meetings, one thing, especially at the high school and junior high level, they asked us to consider is having a second parent-teacher conference day, which I think is a great idea, and the committee did as well. So we added a day in March. It's March the 26th. Well, the problem is when you add the extra parent-teacher conference day, that's one of your 5 discretionary days. And the discretionary days are the teacher work days and the other parent-teacher day. So what we did so basically the teachers were working an extra day for no pay. Anyone for that? I'm sorry. So in order to fix that problem, we made basically two changes. We moved the professional development day from May the 11th, and we replaced the teacher work day Monday, January the 5th with that PD day. So now Monday, January the 5th will be a professional development day for teachers. Students still won't come that day. So again, back to May the 11th will just be a regular school day. Now, the other thing that did is we had to shift the calendar back one day. So instead of the last half day of school being on Monday the 25th, it is now Friday the 22nd, which is similar to our calendar this year. So I think we would have tons of support for that as well. So, but that was a mistake on my part, and I apologize for that we're having to bring it back to you again. So.
Thank you. Any questions? Item on the floor, propose, that is hard to say, change to the 2014-2015 Elizabeth City Schools calendar. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Next item, approve 2014-2015 budget for the Elizabethan City Schools. Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you. Have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Anybody have questions?
The one additional staff that was recommended to be hired was I believe it was an assistant for athletic.
Yes,
It's
ma'am.
under.
Yes, ma'am. That's an individual, a secretary to assist Mike Wilson, who is overworked at this time and also dealing with an eyesight concern that is significant. And so under the circumstances, he handles 13 sports, major sports, and 29 different levels, and he actually picks up money, works concession stand. He does it all. Mops, puts out cones, and things of that nature, and he's almost as old as I am. So under the circumstances, I think that if nothing else, because of his condition of his eyes, he needs someone to help him in that situation. And he could ask for this through 504, but he's too proud to go that route. So if I've said, don't y'all tell him what I said about him behind his back. But he is a hard worker, very sharp, and is a friend to everyone, I guess, in this room. But anyway, he needs some help, and we need to help him before he strokes out.
Well, I know one thing, Mr. Wilson, you see him at every sporting event. I don't care why. He'd be taking up money or going out and filling little holes on the soccer field and stuff. I've seen him. He's very busy around. He's around a lot.
And he has 3 small boys too, and that in itself, I think, would be a killer.
Regardless of the eyesight, the position itself would be benefited from having an assistant. If he was able-bodied in full 100%, it would necessitate it with that degree of work.
Yes.
Any other questions?
I would just like to commend Ms. Wilson and her group for this report. It's very thorough and very, it is complicated, but also you put it into some simple terms and stuff where we as board members can understand it pretty good, and I appreciate that. I like the budget at a glance. That kind of gives you things that pop. That's a lot of things that you recognize, and it's very helpful. And I appreciate the hard work you put into it, Ms. Wilson, and those that helped you. I know you didn't do it by yourself. I know you had plenty of help.
Any other questions or comments on the budget before we vote?
I had one more question, but it wasn't major. So and I've marked it, but I can't find it, so we'll have to hold it. And I'll just get it the next time. And I had 2, and one was explained. So go ahead.
Anybody else have a question? You good? You're good on the budget?
Yeah, I had a long.
Oh, you had a good talk.
Today.
Well, thank you very much. Ms. Baker, can't find it?
Well, I found one, but I figured that out. I went back and looked at it. And
okay.
And one on page 3, no, one on page 8. And I see exactly where that is. So
wonderful. All right. Item on the floor is to approve the 2014-2015 budget for the Elizabethan City Schools. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. And then the last item we moved from the consent is to approve the minutes of April. Mrs. Armstrong wanted to make, did you say an addendum to it? Okay. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
I second.
All right.
You ready? Okay. The addendum that I'm asking for is, well, it doesn't have a page number. Thought it did. And the price increase for physical therapy in Elizabethton City Schools, the discussion, and sometimes, you know, just one word can change a whole meaning of a sentence. And I would like it added that this was not an item for discussion. I think I had that similar circumstance before in one other case. It was just a statement that I felt like I needed to share with the board and also with the community of how I felt about the price increase. So if that could be added to what is there, since I wasn't asking for a discussion, but simply making a statement.
I'm sorry, where are you talking in the minutes? Because I'm not finding that.
It's at the top of the page. I think it's third page over for a second. It is. Find it. I know it's confusing with two different sets of minutes.
Yeah.
In there.
Most importantly, Ms. Perkins, do you see where we're talking?
Yeah.
Are you referring to the
I
sentence?
guess you had the discussion. I left.
I mean, on there is the approve the contract, and basically Ms. Baker asked a question, and there's the vote. I mean, that's all that's listed in it.
Yeah.
It said that you left the meeting prior to your departure. You stated you disagreed with the increased price in services proposed in this contract.
Back up to the top of the page. I think you're too far down. It's it starts at the top of the page with reassurances regarding annual painting of Brown Sugar Stadium. I just wanted it to be sure that.
Oh, you further stated you disagreed with the increase in price. Oh, okay, I see what you're talking about. Okay.
That's good. Would you tell me which sentence you're asking to have?
Right before regular agenda, when she is talking about
I found
the
that
painting.
section, but I just didn't know which sentence she wanted added to or deleted.
Now that we're all on board, tell us what you're saying.
Just add an addendum there would be just fine.
Which is?
Because I really played with this one hard.
What does the addendum say?
Yes, we don't know what the addendum is.
Well, I put down it was kind of misleading, which it really was. It's not an item for discussion, but a statement of disagreement of the requested price increase.
Where it says she further stated she disagreed with the increased price in services noted in the contract under consideration on the regular agenda item 12. Well, how would you like to restate that?
Yeah, I did not want a discussion out of the order of the agenda.
I don't see where it had a discussion.
It's
A
just
few lines. Oh, Ms. Boer explained that discussion of this agenda item could occur only when it was formally brought before the board for consideration during the meeting, and that would occur when the items on the regular agenda were considered. Is that what you mean? I see where you're talking about. I just don't know how you want to change it to reflect it.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Oh, yeah. I thought,
Okay.
Yeah, at the end of the sentence.
At the end of the sentence,
Yeah.
regular agenda were considered. She would like it to read addendum, colon, and then what?
Not an item for discussion,
Not an item for discussion,
but a statement.
but a statement. Not an item for discussion, comma, but a statement. So after the sentence that says that would occur when items on the regular agenda were considered, she wants it to say addendum, colon, not an item for discussion, comma, but a statement, period.
Yeah, a statement
Is that okay?
of disagreement. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if you put that down, a statement of disagreement, then you will.
Okay, I'll second that.
So you want a statement,
10 years from now,
and
we'll know.
and you want to add it after that word, something else?
No, I think that was it.
Okay.
Is that okay? You said it. I just.
I thought this would be so easy.
It's never easy.
It's never easy.
No.
Okay.
Okay. I don't even know how to begin to read this back. So I'm just going to say that we are going to approve the minutes with an addendum at the end of other. And what she said.
Paragraph 2 under other.
Thank you, ma'am. All right. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. One thing I need to ask. Could we possibly reschedule the June meeting to the Tuesday the 17th instead of the 19th? Would anyone have a problem with that?
Sounds good to me.
What, is there a conflict?
I have to be out of town. If I can't, I will just tell Milligan I can't go. If
You've got a good vice president there.
yes.
The change is fine with me.
Yep. The only problem is if there's something major come up, this board has proven it'll be a 2-2 vote. We won't get anything done. So if we can keep all of us here, that would be really helpful. So if we can't move it to Tuesday, then I will change my plans and stay for the 19th.
So are you asking
I'm asking
each
if they-
individually to
That would
say
probably
yes
be-
they can or not?
Yes.
I can.
You can. Ms. Armstrong, can you do the
I'll
17th?
look on my calendar when I get home. As soon as I know.
Okay. Can you just let us
What
know
is
real
the
quickly?
19th? The
The Thursday's the 19th, 17th, a Tuesday.
Probably don't, but no, I can't swear to that.
You don't think you could change it to the 17th?
I'll
Okay.
change it.
I'll check my calendar,
All right.
because I've double booked twice this week.
Okay. And if we can't, I will,
Yeah.
you know. Does anybody need to make any other changes through the summer?
What, no, not about that, but I did find my page after the budget, but I won't hold you long and we can discuss it next time. I had a question about the transfers, and I'll wait and direct it to Ms. Wilson then.
But we
can
just
mention
approved
that
the
next
budget,
time.
correct?
Yeah, we approved it, yes, but I still had questions. It's a question that we need to discuss about transfers. And that's what my question's, not anything that would be changed in the budget,
Okay.
but there's some questions
Well,
about
just
transfers.
get it together and submit it for the next board meeting, and we'll put it on there. Next regularly scheduled board meeting will either be the 17th or the 19th. We'll let you guys know just as quickly as possible. The board will review changes in the state and federal legislature that will make policy changes necessary for the June board meeting. We get a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you. You have a second? Have a nice evening.